Welcome to Let Us Seek the Lord. And today we'll be reading in Genesis 40. It's February 7th, 2026. And let's get to reading. It came to pass after these things that the butler and the baker, the king of Egypt, offended their lord, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was angry with his two officers, the chief butler and the chief baker. So he put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard in the prison, the place where Joseph was confined. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them. So they were in custody for a while. Then the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were confined in the prison, had a dream, both of them. Each man's dream in one night, and each man's dream with its own interpretation. And Joseph came into them in the morning, and he looked at them and saw that they were sad. So he asked Pharaoh's officers who were with him in the custody of the Lord's house, saying, "Why do you look so sad?" And they said to him, "We have each had a dream, and there's no interpreter of it." So Joseph said to them, "Well, don't interpretations belong to God? Tell them to me, please." Then the chief butler told his dream to Joseph. And he said to him, "Behold, in my dream I saw a vine was before me, and in the vine were three branches. It was as though it budded, its blossoms shot forth, and its clusters brought forth ripe grapes. Then Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand." And Joseph said to him, "This is the interpretation of the dream. The three branches are 3 days. Now within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your place, and you will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand according to the former manner when you were his butler. But remember, when it is well with you, and please show kindness to me, make mention of me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this house. For indeed, I was stolen away from the land of the Hebrews, and I also have done nothing here that they should put me in this dungeon." When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said to Joseph, "I was also in my dream, and there were three white baskets on my head. In the uppermost basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, and birds ate them, and out of the basket on my head." So Joseph answered, said, "This is the interpretation of it. The three baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head from you. They'll hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh from you." Now it came to pass on the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast for all his servants. He lifted up the head of the chief butler and the head of the chief baker among his servants, and he restored the chief butler to his butlership again, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet the chief butler did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. In 2007, shortly before I left for Senegal, I had a brief vision. It was kind of cartoonish in nature, but it was clearly that the Lord was speaking to me on the approach of a significant time of ministry. In the vision, the Lord simply asked me with a smile, holding a giant door key. He said, "So you want to be the doorkeeper?" I've often pondered the meaning of it, and whether it was just for that trip or for my life as a whole. To this day, I'm not completely sure what it meant. Other than that, it was an encouragement to me that the team with which I was going would be used to open doors in Senegal for the gospel and for the kingdom. It is the pleasure of God to speak to the one who will listen and obey. Concerning dreams and visions, 4 things are clear from Scripture. Number one, God does speak to people with dreams and visions. Examples? Well, there's Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Pharaoh, Moses, Balaam, and almost every one of the Old Testament prophets, Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar, Cyrus. I could go on. In the New Testament, there was Zacharias, Mary, Joseph, Simeon, Anna, Peter, John, Philip, the evangelists, the leaders at Antioch, and Paul. Number two, those to whom he spoke in dreams and visions seemed to be people whom he could trust, not always, for example, Pharaoh, but seemed to be people that he could trust to be uh, obedient, or who were at the crossroads in history in which he would use them as significant players, whether or not they were obedient to it. The number of people with whom it is recorded that he spoke to, this is number three, the number of people with whom he spoke to that it's recorded are a significantly small number of people in relation to the general population of those referred to in Scripture. In the number four, in the last days, God will pour out his Spirit upon people, and they will prophesy and see visions and dream dreams. Joseph's dad, grandpa, and great-grandpa had all been communicated with by the Lord through dreams. When Joseph had his dreams as a teenager and shared them with his family, his father's argument was not that God does not do such things, but whether Joseph had really interpreted it correctly. Maybe that's why Joseph said, don't, interpretations belong to God. Tell them to me, please. Maybe he was thinking of his father's response to his early dreams. Maybe he was beginning to wonder if those dreams would ever come true. After all, at this point, Joseph has been in slavery and or prison for 11 years. Yet he obviously still believed. Otherwise, he would not have insisted that they tell him their dreams. God was with Joseph, and I think Joseph knew it, and he believed it. Do you suppose that Joseph thought that somehow the dream of his fellow prisoners might somehow be related to the interpretation of his own dream, which had been rejected by his father and his brothers, and his own experience to this point? Yet he still had the audacity to say, don't interpretations belong to God? Tell them to me, please. God cannot lie, and Joseph knew it. God gave him the interpretations. Those interpretations led to the fulfillment of his own dreams. Do you suppose God really wants you or me to be doorkeepers? Certainly he does. Is there really any sense in which he will use us to unlock or lock doors as spiritual regions for the gospel of the Lord or of Jesus? Certainly there is. In the last couple of decades, there's been a dramatic shift in parts of the Islamic world where traditional missionaries have not been permitted to enter. Islamic people have been having dreams where Jesus appears to them and tells them to seek him. This uptake came seemingly as a response to many people's having prayed for those countries for vast amounts of time, and even entering those countries to do nothing but to prayer walk the country. Will God still use dreams and visions today? Of course he will. But if he does, then it will only be glory for him. After 70 years of life, I'm convinced of one thing. If you and I accomplish anything of any significance, then it will not be because of us, but solely because of his mighty power. It will be only for his glory and none of us. Indeed, we serve a glorious King, so speak his glory today.